And hello, everybody, to Pokésports, a competitive Pokemon podcast. I'm Mike, and I play with one Pokemon on the field.
I'm Kevin, and I play with two Pokemon on the field.
We do. We've been playing with all kinds of Pokemon on the field this week, dude.
Dude, we try our best here. But I don't know, Mike. Singles is hard for me. I'm trying, but
Uh-huh.
when you bring a Gigalith and you give it max HP and max special defense,
Mm-hmm.
that's beyond my comprehension at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a thing. That's a thing.
Oh, why is it a thing?
Usually you see it on Showdown where like time is infinite and nothing matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you go on to like actual games with it, like in-game games, that's when it gets like the worst thing that I've ever seen in my entire life.
I think I just like recently checked OU statistics right now. Like
Mhm.
Clefable's at 53% right
Yes.
now.
Yes, and it has been for the past month. This
Yeah,
isn't new.
when is that going to Ubers? That needs to be in Ubers at that point.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure you can use it. I'm sure you can bring a Clefable into Ubers and go pretty far with it.
It wasn't in top 24 in Ubers when we did our Ubers battle though, so that's kind of interesting.
No, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, welcome to Pokésports. We play Pokemon
Oh,
here. That's just what we do. But we also like to get a little personal. And one way that we do that is by going over the national days of the year. Somebody asked me this week, why do you do that? Why do you start the episode off by telling me that it's National Walnut Day today on May 17th, 2020? And I have to tell you, I don't know. We like it.
how
That,
else were you supposed to know it's National Walnut Day
I
other
mean,
than watching
right?
Pokésports?
If
Someone has to tell you.
if nothing else, you now know that today is National Walnut Day. So you're welcome. We do our part in whatever small way that we can.
Also, fun fact: if you Google walnut Pokemon, you get Fortress.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. 100%. That is exactly what I did. And that's why we're here. Anybody forget that Fortress was a Pokemon, by the way? Fortress
did
was
last
a
week.
Pokemon. Super high defense. If it were in the game, it would actually be probably seeing play right now. Yeah.
Didn't you? I think wasn't that? I'm pretty sure that was a Dexter last week, and you couldn't get it.
No. I could not get it. I had no idea.
Oh, okay. So you saying no, it wasn't. Like, then where am I remembering this? Like, I think I was there.
No, I had
Okay.
forgotten that I forgot it. Took me a couple seconds there. I was like, wait a second. Oh, no. If you, however, are listening to this on Wednesday, May the, what is that, 20th? Yeah, National Be a Millionaire Day is what day that is.
I will try my best to be a millionaire just for this podcast, Mike.
We will get to work. How would you be a millionaire? What would you do to get to millionaire status?
Oh, very easy. I'd take my Gigantamax Meowth into the Pokemon League and
Okay.
just keep spamming those until I have $1 billion.
Oh, that's true. I wonder how many millionaires there are in the Pokemon world. Like, how many players are currently millionaires? Is there anybody who like gains satisfaction by being a millionaire in the Pokemon games? I would actually. Now that I think about it, like if I open up my game right now and I see that I have 7 digits in there, I'm like, ooh, yeah.
You can't be a billionaire, no. Though, rest in peace.
Yeah, it's a shame. But of course, for all you guys out there on your hustle, posting up your lemonade stands during this time, we respect you and we love you. Be a millionaire day. Get that coin.
The crazy thing about this week is that unlike last week, where we had no news, this week we have a lot of news.
We have all the news this week. Like, it's almost like we took last week and just flipped it on its head. We just went Trick Room on it, and now we have everything. First off, in the news, we've got some max raid events going on right now. We've got max raids for Gmax Pikachu, Gmax Eevee, and Gmax Meowth. Gmax Pikachu is going to be from May 11th to May 18th, which is, if you're listening to this on the Sunday, tomorrow. So go hurry up, get your Gmax Pikachus. After Gmax Pikachu ends is going to be Gmax Eevee, which goes from May 18th to May 25th. After that, we've got Gmax Meowth, which goes from May 25th to June 2nd. And for those of you who are looking to get some money in game, Gmax Meowth is one of the very, very, very good ways to do it. Just go and use that Gmax. Ooh, what's it called? Not Gmax Payday.
It might be Gmax Payday.
Oh man, I need
Gmax
to know
Money.
this. Oh man,
It's totally Gmax Payday, no?
Gmax Gold Rush is what it is.
Gmax Payday sounds better.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I mean, there already is Payday in the game. Imagine it just goes from Payday to Gmax Payday. Payday.
Gmax coins.
Gmax Coin time.
Something about these Pokemon is that their hidden abilities are available now, which they weren't previously available.
Oh, that's
So
true.
that's a big deal for Pikachu, especially.
Huge deal for Pikachu. You get the lightning rod now.
Gigantic deal for Pikachu,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
some would say.
Do you think that's actually going to be relevant?
Oh yeah, and
Mm,
I've been seeing it, and it's actually pretty annoying because Pikachu, by Dynamaxing it, you kind of make it a decent tankiness. It's not great. You can still one shot it with most things, Excadrill primarily,
right.
but just being able to paralyze the other side of the field 100% of the time and then soak up other electric type moves, and then you can even go for like some discharge shenanigans into your own Pikachu, make that light ball and make that Gmax Volt something, Gmax paralysis move.
Gmax
To
Volt Crash.
there it is.
Wow.
Do
Oh, I got
some
that
massive
one.
damage. Did you?
Look at
I
me.
mean, I don't know. I'll believe anything you say at this point.
I'm just gonna. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I was absolutely right. It is Gmax Volt Crash. Look at that. Also, some people in the chat have been giving us some good Gmax Gold Rush alternate names, such as Gmax Make It Rain, or would that be Gmax Make It Rain? Like hyphenate the thing. Gmax Money was also a very good one. Post in the chat your favorite different names for Gmax Gold Rush. I think we can get some pretty creative ones in there.
Gmax coin, Gmax money,
Gmax Money,
Gmax, Gmax dollar.
Gmax Bills, y'all. All right, so those are the Gmaxes that are going to be out for the rest of May. They're really giving out those extra Pokemon. Those first two, Pikachu and Eevee, those are the ones that are exclusive to
Yeah,
Let's Go. So it only took a good 6 months, 7 months for them
yeah.
to give those ones out.
Originally behind a paywall, now you can get them for free, but only for a limited time. Also, Meowth was exclusive if you didn't buy the game before like January or something.
Yeah,
So
that's
all
right.
these were exclusive at one point.
So now they're just like rewarding people for buying the game eventually.
They're just saying come back and play.
Gmax Tree Fitty is very good.
Gmax Tree Fit.
Gmax Tree Fitty is so good. Okay. So those are the Gmaxes this month. Go out, get them. They're going to be good, especially because next month we have the 2020 International Challenge for May. This one, of course, they're highlighting on the thumbnail there that it's including Gmax Hatterene and Gmax Gengar, Gmax Machamp, Gmax Grimmsnarl. We've got all of the Gmaxes available to us in this one. So it could, I should say, prove to be an interesting challenge this time around.
We'll have to see how much the meta shifts, but I don't think any of these Gmaxes really made a hard impact. I've
No.
faced a couple of Gengars online, though.
Really? I was about to say I forgot that Gengar was a thing. Are they still doing like the Gengar Bishop thing?
Yeah, I mean, just Gengar in general
Mm-hmm.
is just very annoying when you can't switch out, especially if you don't have a ghost type to use. And just specifically against triple ghost cores, it doesn't do too well. So that's I guess why people aren't really sticking to it because ghosts can freely switch out whenever they'd like to. So it
Right.
just completely nullifies that whole move.
Okay. Okay. But and then Gmax Grimmsnarl, I assumed would be a good thing.
It's just the yawn isn't 100%, so
Oh, true.
people just stayed away from it.
Mm-hmm. Hatterene's Gmax Smite though, that is
Oh, that's
good.
really good.
That's
There's
really
no
really good.
Yeah, there's, like, no reason not to use a Gmax Hatterene over a regular Hatterene
Really.
because you don't wanna change the terrain anyway. You
Mm,
kinda wanna keep that psychic terrain for the Hatterene, and by going for a regular fairy move, you change the terrain away from it, which makes you susceptible to priority moves at that point.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's a good reason to use that. So yeah, the Players Cup going to be available. Not the Players Cup, the International Challenge. We'll talk about the Players Cup in a second. Going to be from when is that? Thursday, May 21st, from 5 p.m. until Sunday, May 24th at 5 p.m. Both in PST. The rewards include an Ultra Ball Guy T-shirt. So where's my boy Ball Guy when we really need him?
Who could have guessed? They went from Great Ball to Ultra Ball. Let's guess what's next.
I'm so excited though. I'm so excited that they're going through the balls there. Like they're going to go from Pokeball to Ultra Ball to, or Pokeball to Great Ball to Ultra Ball to Master Ball, but then they can go
Mhm.
through all of the other balls as well up until we get to
Pink
the next
Ball,
game.
Love Ball,
Yo, you can get a Beast Ball
Safari
shirt.
Ball. I
Beast
will
Ball
take
shirt is just like it's got Supreme on it.
Beast Ball is like the most rare ball in the game, right? Other than Master Ball. So
As
yeah,
a joke on Hype Beast Ball, by the way.
I
So
didn't catch it.
no worries, no worries. I didn't either. Big shout out to PK Ball Guy on Twitter for being just Twitter's resident ball guy.
Just for being a ball guy,
Yeah,
giving
you
us
know.
Pokemon.
And then, of course, after the international challenge is going to be the Play Pokemon Players Cup competition. Play Pokemon Players Cup is a new online tournament provided by Play Pokemon, which will have two stages. All right. So in July, eligible players are going to be able to compete in a double elimination bracket broken down by rating zones. So like you've got your NA, you've got your EU, you've got your OC, and then you've got your what's that? Latin America.
Yeah.
It's funny in the notes which Kevin wrote. He put NAEUOC etc. It's just one more, Kevin. You
Well,
wrote
I mean,
two extra letters. ETC period.
yeah.
How
Oops.
dare you? So I'm looking at this. I'm like NAEUOC etc. Are there more?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, there's one more. Just one.
Good you. And those top finishers will then face off in the final stage of the tournament in August, when the winner will be crowned as the champion of the Pokemon Players Cup.
Essentially replaces Worlds, right? At
Yeah,
this point.
yeah.
Which
But
is super
good.
cool.
I'm really happy
Yeah.
for that. Just
Yeah,
a
it's
little
super
makeshift
cool.
worlds.
Like people were saying, "Oh, VGC is dead" once they started canceling all the competitions. But it's really nice that Play Pokemon's taking the initiative to be like, "Hey, this metagame still exists. We still want to do something with it. Hey, we still have a replacement for Worlds."
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like super amazing. I'm so into this.
I'm really into this. Yeah, and now suddenly it's like anybody at home can compete in worlds. I wonder if
Yeah,
we're going to see. I'm really curious, actually, if we're going to see the same players that we had seen winning the international competitions go into the top 256 of their specific regions.
here's the thing.
Mm.
This is all best of one games. It's all random match pairings. That's very different than live competitions where are best of threes.
Oh,
And some players, like I remember we were talking to Edu when he was on Pokésports Plus, and he was saying that he wishes he can practice best of three more because laddering on the ladder isn't a direct practice,
right.
but now it technically is. Some
You
players just see themselves as better best of three players versus best of ones.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
one of those
Like you
people.
learn
Yeah.
you learn what the opponent is doing in game 1 and then you completely go and counter it in game 2 and 3.
Mhm. And best of three is
Mm,
less susceptible to like cheese teams.
that makes sense. That makes sense. So, as we said, the people who get to participate in the Play Pokemon Players Cup competition are going to be the top players in the international challenge. So for NA, it's top 256. For EU, again, top 256. For OC, that's actually only top 128. I guess that's probably the least players in the world, is what that screams to me.
Yeah, it's probably just population size this goes out of.
Yeah. And then Latin America is 256 as well. Uh, so like only about 1,900 players are going to be only about 900 players are going to be playing in this Pokemon Players Cup.
Which is a lot more than Worlds would have gotten. But yeah, like everything else, it's online. I I don't think they say whether the July or the August phase is a best of 3, but I'm sure they'll announce that later on.
Right.
But for what we know right now, this May International Challenge is the most important international challenge that we've had in a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the only kind of competition that the Pokemon can put on during this
Mhm.
time. So of course they've got to up the ante.
Do you think you're getting top 256, Mike?
Do I think I'm getting top 256? Oh man, you know what? I'm going to try. I I think I can do it. I think I can do it.
I believe in you.
I believe in
I
me.
got I got top 500 in the April one, so
Okay. Do you
I'm
know
gonna
how many
try.
battles this international challenge is?
It's probably the same as the last one, 15 each day
Yeah.
is what my guess would
45
be.
total, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so this is definitely one where you want to be doing your 15 battles.
Yeah, you need to get as high as you possibly can,
Mhm.
or if you're going on a win streak, just stop. If you somehow manage to pull 20 wins in a row, just stop. You'll probably win the thing, or at
I
least you'll probably be top 256 at that point.
I would agree. Yeah, I think more people than not are going to go um 50%.
Mhm.
So going 100% with less battles is going to be pretty choice for you. Highly,
I
highly suggest that. Kevin, what team are you thinking of bringing for this one?
ah, so back in February,
Mm-hmm.
I ran a Indeedee Driftblim team, and then
Yes.
that team did very well for me. I got 4th place in the PAX tournament. I was undefeated on the battle stadium with
Mm-hmm.
that team for the majority of our online videos, and I think I peaked at, like, top 500 with that team
Right.
on Battle Stadium. But then when Incineroar came out, I was very scared because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, wait, this is an Indeedee and a Drifblim. Incineroar can just destroy both of these Pokemon."
Right. Right.
So then when Incineroar got that 60% usage, I was just like, let me just, rebuild the team, just n not use this, figure something else out." And
Mm-hmm.
then I kind of ignored it. And then recently, I'm like I was looking back at my old Showdown teams, I'm like, "Okay, let's try this out." I haven't lost yet.
Oh. Did you make like any changes to it or?
I made a yeah, yeah, I made a lot of changes. There are a couple of moves I changed around. I completely without revealing too much, I
Mhm.
completely removed Will-O-Wisp from my Drifblim because I didn't
Mhm.
feel like I needed it, and I miss it more than I hit it, so there's no point. Um, I decided to add a second Dark type move on my Bisharp because Sucker Punch and Psychic Terrain don't always mix very well, and
Okay.
sometimes I just need that Dark move. Um, and I'm bringing Dracovish a lot more. Dracovish
Mm.
is stupid strong, especially for good old Colossal, because Scarf Dracovish in Tailwind, I
Mhm.
believe, is enough to outspeed. And even if it doesn't outspeed, I'm pretty sure it still outgoes. And then
Oh, for sure.
Tyranitar's not a problem, and just like Excadrill's not a problem. I love that Dracovish.
Oh, okay. So you're bringing the Indeedee Driftbum team. You're going to be tossing a Dracovish onto that. It's
There's a
good.
couple more item changes I made, some
You
move
don't have to
changes.
rebuild the entire team.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, that's a
Indeedee
that's a
Drifblim.
good enough start. You put out three of your four Pokemon that you're often going to bring.
You know what I'm very excited for
Mhm.
is I was just looking at it, Grassy Surge Rillaboom with
Yes.
Gigantamax. I want it right now because that with a Tailwind from the Drifblim is going to be so strong.
Oh, that's true.
And the ally switch, they cover each other's weaknesses so well. So just by ally switching, you're just able to tolerate that very and then having it under Tailwind, having the max overgrowth doing grassy surge boosted damage on top of reducing earthquake damage and then um having the mold breaker ability.
Mhm.
Amazing. I want it. I want it now.
Directly into the veins. Grassy terrain
uh,
directly into the veins. That's what I want. Um,
Rillaboom needs that to be played, I think.
Oh, for
Definitely does.
sure. 100%. 100%. And then for me, I am right now thinking of bringing my Orbeetle team. I'd done a spotlight on it, or what did I call it? A team intro on
Mhm.
the Pokesports YouTube channel. But that was also back during the Noctowl days.
Oh, thank
where I
God you're
was
not.
trying to make a point.
Are you not bringing it?
I'm not
The
going to
first
bring the Noctowl.
the first thing I was gonna say is please don't do this to yourself.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, it's a fun Pokemon to play with, but I do think that it has a bit of a lower win rate attributed to it. There are a lot of counters in the metagame that if you were going to a major tournament with this, I would probably look at a different solution than Noctowl. And so for me, that solution is going to be my Lodic. So
Okay.
more often than not, my lead is going to be a Gmax or Beetle and my Lodic, because my Lodic not only has the competitive for the all the Gyarados out there or the Arcanines that are out there, but and the Incineroars not to mention, but it's also got the Hypnosis, and I can put other Pokemon to sleep in Gravity, and I really want to do that.
Milotic is such an annoying Pokemon.
It is, isn't it?
I respect you for it.
Not a lot of
Orbeez.
people. Well, I feel like not a lot of people have still seen Orbeetle
Mhm.
in battles. Certainly not the Gmax variety. Um, a lot of them expect them to be trick room setters or be a part of a trick room team. And so I'm thinking if I can kind of disguise the rest of my team as kind of a trick room uh, thing, then I can bait out some different leads from different people.
Yeah, this is best of one. So pulling out strategies like Orbeetle or just like Pokemon a lot of people don't see too often
Thank you.
and probably don't have a counter for is very, very good. Like there's so many times where I'm running Indeedee Drift Bloom on the shit unload and people are like, wait, I didn't know Indeedee did damage.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is like you want to be surprising people in these best of
Mhm.
ones. You don't want to bring a like high meta team that people have practiced against and people like know how to deal with. Like you want something that people aren't going to expect. And so this is the chance for you guys to get, super creative in your teams and super think outside the bun with these.
There's a reason Kevin loses to Noctowl and Mike loses to Delibird.
That's right.
There's a reason.
That's right. Okay, don't do this, Kevin, please. Back I'm going to do this to myself. Back in the first international challenge, this was like way far back. So if you're new to Pokésports, which a lot of you are, we have a lot more listeners now than we did back in, when was that? January?
It would have been in December if it was a
December
Delibird, I
was the
think.
first one. So December, the international challenge back then was that, are you sure? Are you sure that
It
the
might have been
December was on?
January.
Whatever.
No,
Anyway,
yeah, yeah. I don't know.
the
One of
very
them.
first the very first match that I had done, I was doing a video on it, and the very first battle that I had done before I even started recording was versus a Delibird. And we had just finished that week like spotlighting Delibird, and we were like, oh, this Pokemon's nothing, it's a joke, it's a meme, it's whatever. And then it beat me, and I was like, oh no, I was wrong. But
Oh, that's
Max
so
Airstream, guys, it's no joke.
that person was just ahead of their time. They knew Max Airstream was gonna be good, and here
It's
it is
true.
now on every Dragapult.
Oh God, it's so true. All right, so that's the Play Pokemon tournament. Get your teams ready. Get creative. Get in on the action. Before we go to break, I also want to touch on some Smogon news. Just super quick, Appleton, Silvally Fighting, and Silvally Poison have been voted to leave PU for PUBL. Uh, this is the war on Silvally. It's crazy. Like every single week, we have some kind of Silvally change. What is
I
going on,
just
Kevin?
I I think it's because Smogon tiers rely on usage, right?
Mhm,
So it's probably not even the fact that they're not good Pokemon. It's
mhm.
just people forget they exist.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, and there's so many. So like you have 18 Pokemon essentially that are all the same Pokemon because
But
they all have different typings.
but this isn't people forgetting that they exist. They just went up a tier.
Well, that's true, but they're still in the lowest tier in the game.
Okay,
Or the
so they're
second
they're
lowest.
they're bad, but they're not like bad.
Yeah.
But Appleton is apparently really, really good in PU. So it moved up to PU ban list. You can't use it in PU anymore. But feel free to use it in literally any other format. Bring it into UU, whatever. Try and make an Appleton work. I wanted Appleton to be so good. I really, really wanted it to be good.
This would have been more fitting last week when it was National Pie Day.
I think I did. I think I showed a picture of an Appleton.
Yeah, but he didn't move a tier.
No,
Feels
that's
bad.
true. Well, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he went up a tier, is because it was National Apple Pie Day. So everyone was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to bring an
Oh, yeah.
Appleton on my team.
The usage of Appleton just skyrocketed
Exactly.
that day.
Usage of Appleton skyrockets on Apple Pie Day.
I've already had a little bit of rant about singles battles.
Oh, okay.
earlier in
Well,
the
let's get into this then. So, this past week, for our Pokésports Smackdown on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Pokésports, we drafted and played with a underused team. So we took the top 24 Pokemon inside that tier. We drafted them. We banned 2 of them. We picked 5, and then we wildcarded 1. And then we smashed them against each other. And it was a match. It was definitely a match. 9 out of 10 doctors would call that a match. But we experienced some problems with it. We had quite a few problems with it, actually.
My biggest problem was timer. Rest in peace, timer. But the match itself.
Let's not spoil it for anybody.
Okay, it was a very competitive match. Very good switches. And how do I say without spoiling it? I hate Cavalion.
Yeah.
Cavalion I don't like it. Why? It's essentially like taking a Zacian and making it UU.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of Celebi. Celebi's got some pretty high defense, which funny enough, I think both of those are like the highest use in the tier.
I thought I was okay by having the Darmanitan, but then I encounter these very pointy things called stealth rocks that just kind of float around me.
Yeah.
I don't like those too much either.
But it was really good move. It was a really good move for you to bring heavy duty boots on your Go Isopod. Because that emergency exit, emergency exit is not.
Why is that such a bad ability?
It's not good.
They took the coolest looking Pokemon, like, okay, let's give them the thing and make it trash.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, it was weird when I was playing through. I think it was Gen 7 that Go Isopod became a thing. The second it evolved, I was like, whoa! It like really beefed up. It turned from like this like tiny little Wimpod to a like giant like Goliath Isopod, and then it's like no, it just it's out of there. Oh, well, thanks.
It's still a wimp.
Still a wimp. Like, why wouldn't they change that to like whatever the opposite of emergency exit is? Like the second it goes below half health, it's just like, I'm angry now.
Two speed.
Exactly.
That's defeatist, right? What does Archeop?
Yeah. That's defeatist.
Give me that. Like that's what I want.
Put defeatist on Golisopod. Hidden ability, please.
Maybe one day.
Zen mode Golisopod. That's what I want.
Yeah, just roll up into a ball.
Yeah, but the biggest problem among all of those has been the timer in our singles battles. Yeah. We have been hitting timer on every single one of our battles, and obviously a big part of that is because we're like trying to be entertaining at the same time that we're playing, and so we're like talking about our moves and really trying to put thought into what we do so that other people can learn something. But like if you do that, you're hitting timer every single time, even with 20 minutes.
If you don't do that, you're hitting timer every single time.
Yeah, really. Especially if you bring things like Giggleth.
Yeah. Hashtag change the timer, please. Or just give us the option to remove it.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm playing against my friend. I don't need to get out of there. Like it's not like I got something to do. Like Pokemon's treating me like I got something to do later. Like I got nothing. We're in quarantine, dude.
The option to run anyway.
Please.
Just let us leave.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
So after 20 minutes, if it gave me like the suggestion to run, being like, hey, you've been playing this game for a little bit, how about you go and take a break? Then I'd be like, all right, you know what? Thanks for the suggestion. I'm gonna ignore it, but hey, I'm gonna keep on playing. That's what I want to do.
See, if that happened, that would be a situation where your Joy-Con drift just auto selects it for you and you cancel and you cancel the battle.
Nintendo influenced Joy-Con drift. You just see your Joy-Con or your stick like move down.
You look down at your controller, it's smiling at you.
I can't let you do that, Michael. All right. So with that, let's take a little break. When we come back, let's talk tourneys. We had some fun stuff happen just yesterday that we want to talk about, and we are going to do that in just a second. We will see you then. And we are back. Welcome back, everybody. Back to Pokésports, the competitive Pokemon podcast, the only one on the internet that is a competitive Pokemon podcast hosted by me and Kevin.
I promise. We promise.
I 100% promise you that. I want to let everybody know that last week we had ourselves, last week, what am I talking about? Yesterday. It was like 24 hours. That was 24 hours ago. Everything is the same day to me. We are in a perpetual
that's a quarantine brain right there.
That's a quarantine brain. That's a quarantine brain. We had ourselves a patron-only tournament. If you don't know, if you're unaware, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Pokésports podcast. We had a goal set in Patreon that if we hit a certain amount of patrons, then we would start to have monthly tournaments. Now, this tournament yesterday was an absolute blast. It was crazy. It was a double elimination tournament. Streamed to our Discord. So if you were a part of our Discord server, you may have actually seen it happen. We tried to do it using LAN play, and one of the reasons that we did it over Discord was so that we could actually share it with people and stream it to them. But the reason that we didn't do it to Twitch was because it was LAN play. It was our first time using LAN play, and we were worried that certain technical difficulties would happen.
We didn't want anything to break.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get into the actual like Pokemon element of it, I want to kind of talk about how that ended up working out. So the thing with LAN play, you need to have both a working computer, a working internet connection, and a working Switch. So if all three of those things are able to connect to the LAN play server, then you are able to connect to everybody through what the Switch thinks is a local area network, local area network connection. A local area network is what I just said. Yeah. So, of the participants, there were some that didn't have access to a computer, which is totally fine. You shouldn't need access to a computer to be able to participate in a Pokemon tournament. So because of that, there were certain people that we weren't able to connect to and spectate and commentate over, which is fine. We like primarily wanted people to participate in the tournament. So with that, certain rounds couldn't be streamed, certain rounds couldn't be broadcasted. So we thought, you know what, instead of making people wait through Twitch, we'll do it through Discord. We'll call people in when it's time to show the match, and we'll just do it when we can do it. Thankfully, and in a really kind of cool turn of events, the people who were in the Discord were pretty much there the whole time. We were talking the whole time. We were, just having a good time, kind of partying with each other. And yeah, like the matches that we were able to stream, which was quite a few of them, they were really cool to watch. And we're going to talk a little bit about the winning teams right now.
And on top of it all, we were actually able to get the final streamed and recorded. So if you aren't already subscribed to Pokésports on YouTube, keep your eyes out there.
Yeah, those are going to be coming out this week. Now then, in typical tournament fashion, we looked at what some of the tournaments that we really liked watching do, and one of the big things that they put out is stats, and we were always like really, really curious about the stats, and like we always really wanted to go and view those stats. So we made some of the top 8. we saw that 63% of people, so 5 of top 8 teams, were bringing Kinkeldor. Kinkeldor was
That's
on like more often than not on these teams.
actually very surprising to see because Conkeldurr was above the likes of Colossal, Dragapult, Arcanine, Primarina, etc.
Right.
Like that's nuts to me. But Conkeldurr's a solid Pokemon.
Oh,
Rock Punch,
absolutely.
Elemental Punches, Assault Vest, Flame Orb Guts, has all the good stuff.
It kind of
Definitely.
it kind of proved itself in this
Mhm.
tournament. Then under that, 3 of the 8 teams used Gyarados, which again makes sense. Some use Intimidate, some use Moxie. We actually saw a good mix of both, I think.
Mhm.
Hmm.
We have a we have a lot of Gen 1ers in our patron too. So that could be a little bit of a skewed statistic.
Yeah, really. And then people who brought, or 2 of the 8 teams brought things like Inteleon, Dragapult, Bisharp, Venusaur, Whimsicott, Arcanine, Primarina. Like those are just like high use Pokemon normally, but you know, two of the eight, 2 of the 8 teams brought that.
Now,
Some combination of that. Hmm.
what's crazy is that out of this the top 8, there were 36 different Pokemon in top 8.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Only one team brought Dusclops. Only one team brought Charizard. Only one team brought Mimikyu. Like that's a crazy statistic to me because those are like the top usages on Showdown. So we have very creative patrons.
One of which, by the way, big shout out to William. I want to give you an honorary mention for being the first person I've seen in a long time to bring a Shedinja on a team.
Oh jeez.
Shedinja's fun, and
And brought it to the battle too. Wait, give
oh,
him props
absolutely.
for that.
And he brought it in both times.
Mhm.
Now, I mean, hey, he brought it the first time in the winners bracket in which he lost, and then he brought it a second time in the losers bracket, which he lost. But
Respect.
mad respect for bringing it. And it was funny. We were talking about it after, and we were like, "Hey, do you think it would be wise to put like a focus sash on the Shedinja?" And he was like, "Absolutely not," because he wants all the power on it. And that makes sense. Hey, if you can deal with the Pokemon that threaten Shedinja, then it can survive. And plus, he also had a pretty cool strategy for it too. He would try to soak the Shedinja, which drops all of the other typing apparently, and makes it a water type.
Which has a lot less weaknesses than a ghost bug. So
Yeah,
it's actually pretty interesting.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
opted for safety goggles over focus sash because then Shedinja doesn't go down to like hail or sand.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right. And what rocks isn't like a big thing in VGC, so it's not like Shedinja has that kind of threat going for it. Oh man, I'm interested to see if anybody can make a Shedinja work on their team. I
I
mean,
guess we'll see.
clearly Will is. He's doing it. He made a team. I like it. He soaks the Shedinja, and then he has a lightning rod Pokemon sitting on the other side. He was saying that he would use a Eviolite Rhydon to
Mhm.
suck up all the lightning. So then all it's weak to is grass. And then he
And then
has
you
like
could
a Sap Sipper Gudra as well.
yeah, I think he originally had it and they swapped it out. But
Mhm.
then yeah, he's trying to prepare himself for everything at that point.
Yeah. But I mean, these
Respect.
Pokemon all kind of work, right? Like Sap Sipper Gudra, that's fine. That works.
Thing
Like
is,
just as a Pokemon.
as long as you can't knock out the Shedinja, you technically can't win.
This is true. But hey, Shedinja, mad props for that. Now I wanna talk about the finals match, the last match that we had of the Patreon tournament, which was between Ro and Tofu, both of Patreon, obviously. The runner up of the Patreon only tournament was in fact Tofu. That's Ro's team, Tofu, who brought an interesting team that you may have seen before, including Dragapult, Coalossal, Inteleon, Ninetales, Roserade, and Conkeldurr. Um, Tofu went through the entire tournament without losing a single battle up until the finals. And I think even
So
the finals went 2-1, right?
yeah, it was such a dominant performance by
Oh,
Tofu.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't get a bye first round either. He had to play that first round, went all the way through the tournament without losing a single battle. His semifinals was a 2-0, swept through everyone, and then encountered Row at the end and couldn't take it.
So if we're talking teams that will surprise and amaze, I would highly consider this team right here. The rental code, by the way, is included in the video portion of this video version of this podcast. So if you go to again Pokesports.com, not Pokesports.com, YouTube.com/Pokesports, you can go and get that. But yeah, it's his way of going through this tournament was uh basically like man, he would constantly lose his front two Pokemon and then do a complete 180 and completely shift the momentum to win the game
Mhm. It
every
was
single
so
time.
it was so fun commentating his matches
Mhm.
because he would just catch us by surprise. It would be Tofu leads with Inteleon Ninetales. Inteleon
Yeah.
Ninetales both get knocked out first turn, and then swaps in with the Colossal Dragapult,
Yeah.
and then sweeps through the enemy team. And we're just like, "Oh, Tofu's gonna have a hard time recovering from this." And then Tofu's like, "No, I'm not." And then just takes the whole game. It's
Which
really fun.
through talking with him, I don't think he noticed that it was happening. He didn't really notice that he was losing his front two before his sweepers would come out. But an interesting strategy that he did with this though is he would almost never bring out his Dragapult and Colossal right out in the front unless he like
Mhm.
knew that he didn't have anything that could take them. His opponent didn't have anything that could take him. So he would send those out in the back, get them both out at relatively the same time, and then do the typical, surf with Dragapult, get the weakness policy off on the Colossal, get the Steam Engine off on the Colossal. So now it's +2 attack, +2 special attack, +6 speed, and then Gigantamax Colossal is just like Gmax Vocalith, Gmax Flare, Gmax Quake, every now and then he would hit him with a Gmax guard too, at some pretty opportune times. Max guard is a pretty nutso move, actually.
And on top of that, even if he couldn't get his Dragapult in, his Inteleon has the option of Aqua Jetting for the priority on the Colossal as well.
That's right.
So that's really good in scenarios where the opponent doesn't have a Togekiss, which a lot of people didn't have in this tournament. Only like one team in top 8 had a Togekiss.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
so yeah, that might be another reason why Tofu was able to just take it that much farther. We didn't get to see all of his games, but a majority of his games we got to see, and
Mhm.
all of them just complete momentum switches.
Cool to see too. Did you take a chance to look at the levels on his team? He has a level 1 Roserade and a level 1 Ninetales.
You don't gotta level them up.
You don't gotta
All of
level
them.
him up. Yeah. That's so cool. Anyway, so that's Tofu's team. Use it on your own team. I should also mention we talked a lot about Dragapult and Colossal, but he also brought the Inteleon in a lot of them. He brought Ninetales in most of them to set up the snow warning and get some chip damage off on Focus Ashers and some Blizzard shenanigans on the Inteleon, some Blizzard shenanigans on the Ninetales. The Roserade did see some play. Conkeldurr did see a little bit of play,
Mhm.
but mostly was the Ninetales and Teleon lead.
Yeah, Roserade kinda just fell most games.
Yeah, yeah.
Kinda was that Pokemon he led with and just fell.
Which,
But
which kind of has its place too.
mm,
Sometimes you do want the lead to fall so that you can bring out a powerful Pokemon in the back that can take out the rest of the team.
yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
The Roserade following just gave him the opportunity to bring in the Colossal and then just sweep.
Yeah, exactly. Now then, the winner of the Pokemon Pokesports tournament, Patreon Pokemon Pokesports tournament, the PPPPT, was Ro Ixen, who brought Primarina, Arcanine, Dusclops, Ferrothorn, Aegislash, and Dragapult. Fun fact, this is a team that I built for him, so I'm going to pat myself on the back. There it is.
Yay, Mike.
Yay me. Yay me. I can play VGC
Yay,
now.
Rose.
So now
Rose.
well, honestly though, like through building this, I feel a little bit more confident in how I'm going to perform in May. I don't know how I would do if I used this specific team. I'm thinking that I might use elements from it, but it made me feel like I can at least team build. I don't know about actual application, but I'm taking steps. But I don't want to take credit for this because this is, as he says, taking credit for it for the past 30 seconds. This was Rose's team that he used to battle his way up from the losers bracket. From his very first match, he lost his match against Ragnar, one of the other patrons, dropped down to losers, proceeded to win all of his other matches, and then faced Ragnar again. This was poetic in I believe the losers semifinals. I need to check that again, but he faced Ragnar again and beat him then. So not only did he have to battle all the way through losers bracket, which were all best of ones. There it is. It was the losers finals. So best of 3 against Ragnar. One against him in some great battles. They were telling us how those battles were really good. And then go up against Tofu where he won 2-1. So the basic premise of this team, a lot of what he did starts off with the lead of Dragapult and Arcanine. Typically, your Arcanine would be out there to intimidate the other side, but it's also choice banded, which means it's going to do a ton of damage against the enemy team. Dragapult is meant to Dynamax like almost the first turn that you send it out. And go for a either max airstream to get the extra speed on the Arcanine that it's lacking by having the choice band, or a Draco Meteor to lower attack even more, or a Thunder to get the electric terrain up or to do the electric damage, or Shadow Ball to take out other Dragapults. Cool thing about that Dragapult is that it is a specially offensive variant, but it does have the fly there, specifically because there's no good special flying moves on Dragapult.
Max Airstream is so important to have.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's just got so many different kind of things it can do. And then in the back, you've got your Primarina, who usually comes out as the bruiser to do some extra damage with either its Liquid Voice, Hyper Voice, or the Stab Moonblast, or Hydro Cannon versus Colossal, which is what we saw in the finals. Hydro Cannon was able to take out the massive threat that was Tofu's Colossal both times that Ro won.
That Primarina was super crucial in terms of dealing with that Colossal.
Mm-hmm. And then what I managed to see in Ro's battles was that he tended to bring the Aegislash in the back, which was a really good choice to kind of sweep through the remaining Pokemon that the opponent had. The Shadow Sneak, Iron Head, Close Combat, Shadow Claw gives pretty good coverage against most of the Bruiser meta and the people who will come out kind of in the late game. But your other alternatives of Ferrothorn, Dusclops could be kind of used for more utility. The way that Ro was playing, I think that you might benefit from switching the Ferrothorn or Dusclops out for some other powerful back end Pokemon. I think that would just kind of fit the play style quite well.
Yeah, this team seems very hyper offensive.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Ferrothorn slows that pace down a little bit, which is kind of weird to have in that play style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that even that Ferrothorn set with Power Whip, Gyro Ball, Body Press, Protect, that's an offensive Ferrothorn.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a Leech Seed, Iron Defense set. But even so, I guess Ferrothorn can actually work really well in the Trick Room now that I'm looking at it. But he actually bring Dusclops like almost at all. if not at all.
Right. You know, I learned a lot about the team that I made from him playing it. I think that he played it really, really well and in ways that I didn't really see. But yeah, can definitely learn a lot from. It was really cool. Really, really
Yeah,
cool to see.
our first tournament.
That was our
Put that in the
first
record
tournament,
books.
dude.
Put it in the record books.
Put it in the record books. Yeah, it was fun. We managed to stream, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just about 6 to 8 of the games there. Really, really fun. One thing that I learned from LAN play that I didn't mention before is the fact that uh, if you're if you're playing on LAN play and you're playing on the internet, so like if you're playing kind of a mixed connection kind of thing, um, it can get kind of tough for the competitors, right? Because for LAN play, you have to set up your switch to get it to connect with other LAN configured switches. But then if you then go to battle somebody on the internet, uh, you have to like completely nuke all of your settings. You have to, well, at the beginning, people thought that you had to take out your Pokemon from the tournament and like remove it from the battle, the registered battle team. But you could also just put those Pokemon in a separate battle team. So there was that, but you had to like completely change all of your settings back because if you're connected to LAN, then you can't connect to the internet, and if you're connected to the internet, you can't connect to LAN. So you know, like people were going back and forth, which was a little frustrating. But thankfully, everybody in Discord was incredibly communicative, and you know, we managed to get it done in record time. Really, we got it done in like less than 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We had a whole
Moral,
tournament in less than 4 hours. It was good.
moral of the story: Game Freak, make this easier. We know
Yes,
you listen
please.
to the podcast. We know. We see the analytics. We know you're there. Make this easier.
We know you're listening. Wow. This podcast went from Game Freak should listen to our podcast to Game Freak is listening to our podcast.
And they should do better.
And they should do better. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, what a shame. So yeah, again, rental codes for both of these teams can be found on the VOD of this podcast on youtube.com/Pokésports. So you can go and check that out on the Wednesday that it is out. If you're listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, go and check it out there. Now then, to end off the podcast, which we are already overtime on, we are going to really, really quick go into Pokemon to watch this week. One of which being, of course, G-Max Pikachu with the Lightning Rod. Now has its hidden ability. It was always kind of a great Gigantamax to have, but now it is even better because you can use it as a predictive switch in, but also as a Pokemon that can paralyze the entire other side of the team. So
Yeah,
toss a light ball on it. Yeah.
able to protect your water types, able to protect your flying types. It's very, very good. Lightning Rod is just such a good ability to have. And unless a Pokemon has discharge, they can't get through the Lightning Rod.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing though that I've been thinking about with Gmax Pikachu is it kind of ruins the ability to bring a Gmax water type or a Dmax water type. So usually when people bring in their Primarinas or people bring in their Gyarados, those are the Pokemon that typically see Dynamax. So now it's a Pokemon that you definitely can't.
Yeah, it takes up that whole Dynamax spot, sadly. And it's kind of a Dynamax Pokemon that struggles at living attacks. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's new, it's fresh. People are going to try it, especially for this upcoming tournament that's going to happen in, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, prepare for it. Have a
If
ground type more.
if I
Figure it out.
had my soundboard working right now, I would have pressed the P button. So instead, I will give you a Michael version of P. There it is. Now, second Pokemon to look out for this week is Conkeldurr. 63% usage in the Patreon tournament. Incredible offensive pressure against Tyranitar, against Excadrill, against lots of Pokemon in the meta, with your steel types and your rock types. Um,
Mhm.
Ridiculous amount of damage with flame orb and guts. Crazy amount of tank with special with assault vest. You can live a bunch of damage and take out a lot of the Pokemon in the meta with a very versatile move pool.
Yeah, the move pool has all the elemental punches, has access to Iron Fist, access to Priority Mach Punch, 140 base attack. Like, this is a good Pokemon.
Yeah,
There's a reason why all of our patrons like to use it, because it is very good.
it is very very good. And then, of course, we want to highlight Tofu's Colossal Dragapult. Why is Dragapult so small? Because the Colossal is so big. Still very dominant on the ladder, even outside of just Tofu. Finds you have to find ways to beat it, or else you're going to be beaten by it.
Mhm. Things like Primarina are very good against it.
Yeah,
Dynamax. Um, Consider fast Pokemon and a Tailwind with some
Tailwind
type of
helps.
to be able to at least take care of the Colossal, or an eject button plus switcheroo is also an option. I think Swede had a very interesting
Yes, I
strategy
was just about to say that. Yeah,
with Choice Scarf,
uh,
Skill Swap, and a Telepathy
it
Gardevoir.
was Trace.
Oh, no, this is a different one I'm thinking about.
Oh,
You're thinking
okay, go
about
ahead.
Captain. Yeah,
I
we'll
was. Go
talk about
ahead.
Captain
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a
yeah.
second. So yeah, he skill swaps the telepathy onto the Colossal. So then Colossal won't get hit by the Surf and then loses Steam Engine on top of that. And then Gardevoir gains the Steam Engine, can Dynamax that following turn and attack at +6 speed. That blew my mind. That is like the most convoluted and creative way I've ever thought of dealing with Colossal and Dragapult, and I may try it.
It's like Trick, but it's not Trick.
It's
It's
like
like you
Trick
bring
with
in a
Trick.
Rotom to Choice Scarf and Trick onto another Pokemon to remove their item, but instead you're Choice Scarfing your Gardevoir to skill swap its ability onto the other Pokemon and take an ability at the same time. You have to like have some next level mind games to actually pull this off. But if you pull this off, it's beautiful. Only problem is you kind of have to like know that that team is coming, which in most tournament settings you're never going to be able to do. But if you can build that Gardevoir to actually work outside of that combo, then it'll be good.
Yeah, what's actually something that happened in the tournament was that he did go against Tofu's team, and Tofu did have the Colossal and Dragapult, but like we mentioned before, since Tofu always brought it in the back,
Mm-hmm.
the Swede led with the Gardevoir, expecting the Colossal Dragapult and expecting to be able to just beat it entirely. And then, Colossal just kind of sitting in his Pokeball waiting to go on the field and
Yeah,
didn't really care too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then there was the other thing that happened where the Gardevoir had trace the steam engine and also got to +6 when it was hit with that water move. So that was
That
fun to see. The second we saw that, we just like both started flipping out, like what is going on?
Gardevoir with Steam Engine.
Yeah.
Run, boys.
Unfortunately, Tofu. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, unfortunately for him, uh, Tofu did end up winning that one. So
Mhm.
GG, GG, everybody in the patron tournament. That was really really cool. And with that, that is going to be the end of our 28th episode of the Pokésports podcast. Um, Guys, if you would like to see some more stuff that we're putting out, because we're putting out stuff every single day, you can go and check that out on YouTube at youtube.com/Pokesports. Or you can just connect with us on Twitter at PokesportsPod or Instagram and Patreon at Pokesports Podcast. I want to give a big Patreon shout out, especially to the people who participated in the tournament, but also to Brian, Scott, Sheldon, Dakota, Lewis, Roix, and of course, Jordan, William, which is Swede, Joseph, and Ryan G. You guys are amazing, and we love you very much.
Thank you.
Kevin, where can people find you?
X Reservation, Twitter, and Instagram.
And then, of course, you can find me at Still Just Mike on Twitter and Instagram. Check out all the cool stuff that Pokesports is doing, and tell a friend during this. I want to say during this Pokemon time that we're having, just during this quarantine time that we're all having, enjoying some Pokemon. Yeah. So with that, we are going to say goodbye here, everybody. I hope you have a great week, or as Kevin would say,
Um, I have to save my sister Serenity. I summoned Time Wizard.
We'll see you
You're
next week.
welcome.